They taught us the mask was for our protection, but we're finding out that true safety starts when we take it off. I'm Jerron Scott, and this is Black and Diagnosed. This is a sanctuary for the mind, a space built for those navigating the world with labels like ADHD, bipolar, anxiety, and depression. We're moving past the clinical whispers to have honest conversations about our lived reality. Pull up a seat, catch the vibe, and join us in the garden. Welcome back to Black and Diagnosed. I'm Jerron Scott. Today we're here with Jessica Hunt. We're going to let her introduce herself.
Well, good afternoon. Again, as Jerron has said, my name is Jessica Hunt. I'm a licensed professional counselor. I'm based right now out of Charlotte, North Carolina, but I'm currently licensed in 8 states. So let's do it.
Let's do it. So if you had a lounge right now and you can control the playlist, what's the vibe?
Oh, almost definitely. What's that Harry Coochie music? Definitely. Like that's
What
what
song?
we want.
What songs? What songs are starting out?
We can start off with D'Angelo, I Find My Smile Again, Erykah Badu, Window Seat. We can do I'm all over the place with my music though, so I might kick out some artists nobody's ever heard of. There's a song called by Gaida called Falling Higher. I rock with Dwelle. What's the shit you got? Find a Way. Shit. Who else we got in the neo soul? A little bit of Tony. Just a little smoke and chill vibe. Like ain't nobody fighting type of vibe. Ain't no crazy frequency. It's all chill. All chill. Burns and incense music.
I'm a big neo soul and house guy. Do you listen to house music?
It depends on which house you talking about, because me being raised in Virginia, house music to us is, well, you know what? Follow me. Like those type of, like, that's house to me. Or well, maybe I'm thinking about, I mixed it between Baltimore Dance Club and house, because usually like the DJs will kind of intertwine the both. But I rock with house. It gets tiring after a while, because like I be tired of dancing. Because it's like you got to find a place to kind of find a pause. Because you dancing the entire time. Right.
What is something that you just do when you just like, fuck this, I don't want to do anything? What is your super lazy ritual?
Cut on Kill Tony. You ever watch Kill Tony?
Never even heard of that.
So Kill Tony is almost like a roast, like marathon. Like they take like 2 hours and comedians just come out. They roast the host, they roast the audience, they tell jokes. And Tony is the guy who put it on, and it's the whole little production called Kill Tony. But it's all like comedy how we knew it growing up. Like people getting roasted like Def Comedy Jam type of thing. But I'll throw on some stand-ups, and if I'm feeling real lazy, I want to stay in a good mood, so I'll put on some stand-ups so I can laugh. And binge watch them. I just found out about Nate Jackson. Like, I don't know how late I am with him, but Nate Jackson is crazy. Like, I binged him for a while.
So if you could design a physical sanctuary for yourself right now, what's the first thing you're putting in that room?
Plant. And I know you can appreciate that.
What kind of plant?
Hard to kill one. It's just big leaf snake plant and money trees, and I would love some palm trees. I know they're not typically grown in the house, but I would love a room. My grandfather had this big ass like a 2-story sunroom, and he used to have tall trees in it. They probably never came out, but got them in there when it was small and they grew to be tall. So like just having that image, I would love to recreate a room like that. Almost like something I've seen on yours, like your plant daddy portrait you got. Something like that.
I had 3 monsteras now. Well, 2 now, because I killed the shit out of one of them. I don't know what I did. I put some liquid fertilizer in all 3, and 2 of them were like, cool, thank you. The third one said, nope, didn't need it, I'm dying. So don't know what happened there.
A lot of fertilizer, or like, so when I water my plant.
No, it was just like
you mix it in water.
It was the normal amount.
You mix it in water.
With water, mixed it in, and I'm usually good with plants, but that one That the whole theme, the logo has plants on the
Right.
logo of Black and Diagnosed. I love plants. I'm a big plant guy, plant daddy. Um, yeah. I okay. All right. Last question. What's your favorite 90s sitcom?
Oh God, why are you asking these controversial ass questions so early too? Um, can I do a draw?
Gotta pick one.
Shit, Martin.
I have a very controversial take on Martin.
What? Let's hear it.
Martin is not funny. Martin, it is
Where are your receipts?
it like it's it's cool, but then I feel like I don't know. It just I can't quite put my finger on it. I try to watch it every time. I'm just like I can't finish the first season.
What? You haven't gotten past the first season, Jerome. So what's your show?
I have not
What's your
gone past
show?
the first season. Living single.
So that was my second. That was gonna be my draw. That was gonna be my draw.
Living single is my jam.
Look, I went back and I was gonna binge watch it from the beginning. In the very first episode, because I'm into astrology and all type of crazy stuff. So very first episode, I heard Sinclair at Flavor talking about her astrology. She was like, my Pisces rising. And I said, oh, I really need to fuck with Sinclair better. I ain't give Sinclair enough credit, dog. She goofy, she aloof, she's all of these things. I ain't give Sinclair enough credit. I really gotta sit back and watch the whole thing all over from the beginning. I gotta binge watch it.
Yeah, it's I watch it all the time. That's like I have nothing to put on. I'm gonna put on Living Single. But Martin, I will say the episode when he joins the cult, those episodes, that's
Want a
funny.
sunflower? Yeah.
Yeah, those episodes are funny to me. I will say that. Um,
You are
but yeah,
ignorant, Phil. You would think Brother Sunflower funny, but not the rest of the whole, none of the season. Nothing is funny to
no,
you.
it's
Barnett,
funny, but it's like overrated. It's funny, but
you
it's
are the
not.
first person ever in my life. Are you serious? Are you serious?
I I know that's not very Black of me. I know,
So,
but I know
it-
I'm not the only one who has that opinion.
so my third one, if I could give a third, would be Girlfriend. Only because
Yeah,
that's just classic. Just the staple Black shows to me in order. It'd be Martin, Living Single, and Girlfriend. Um, and then with Living Single, I had just posted something on my page about it was the episode where it was like, ouch, ouch, I just dropped my couch when it was somebody had stole somebody's song and didn't give them credit for it, and Khadijah was about to lose her label. I had just watched that episode the other day. I think it's classic. We some talented people. Black folks, we it.
100%.
Real. We
I
it.
I love Khadijah. That's like I had such a big crush on Khadijah, her character. But
I've
that's
always related to Maxine. You know me well enough to know why. Just
yeah, definitely. I can see
sarcastic.
that. I can see that. Definitely see that. So let's get into it. So as you know, many Black clinicians yell into this field because you look around and just realize the table is almost empty. Finding a seat at the table is rare. Um, what was the moment in your life or early in your training when you realized that there had to be more than just clinical work? What was your why? What about becoming a representation you never saw?
So I guess I can just speak to how I even got into the field. So I have a master's in criminal justice. So I spent a lot of years working with youth. And I ended up working in juvenile detention. And it was probably one of the best and worst jobs I've ever had. It was the best because I kind of got to reach youth at a point where it's almost like they're at the bottom of their experience. They're locked up, they're detained. But it was the worst because I saw them getting in trouble so they could come back because their home life was so detrimental that they just saw better treatment locked up with us. And so my thought pattern was, how can I reach these kids before they get to this point? And so that's when I came up with, I probably need to go to school for therapy. Let me help them while they're still in the community and before they reach this point. So I started working with kids in elementary, middle, and high school. I was a behavior specialist. I worked in alternative schools. I've done all types of therapy. But I kind of got into what I'm doing now because I realized the kids weren't benefiting because their parents weren't properly equipped. So they would get all of this training. We would do all these interventions in school, and they would go right back home to the same environment that is fucking them up in the first place, right? So that's when I kind of transitioned to kind of want to work with adults because I kind of get to hold adults more accountable than kids. Kids, they're fragile, they're still learning, but adults, you kind of supposed to know better. So I transitioned into working with adults, and I figured out what my why was once I got into the job that I have right now. I'm an EAP therapist full time, and I do part time sessions for different platforms. I take insurance and self pay. But when I got into my EAP platform, um, I noticed that and this might be leaking into something else, but I noticed that when people would see me, they would be like super happy to see me. And I didn't realize like because the population I was working with before was all Medicaid, so I was only working with Black people. No, there were very, very few white people on Medicaid, like in the area where I was working. So I'm so used to working with Black folks that I'm like, okay, I'm ready for something different. But then when I had something different, the Black folks weren't used to seeing somebody like me. So my why changed into helping Black people, specifically Black people. I'll help anybody, but my goal right now and probably forever will always be to assist people of color in breaking the stigmas that mental health is for white people. Mental health is for everybody else. Addressing mental health as a weakness. I want to break that stigma and break the trauma relief behind, break the trauma that is holding our people from getting the help that they need so they can be the best version of themselves. So, um, but about being a representation I've never seen, what I can speak to is my childhood. I was bad as hell too. So when I was working in like juvenile detention, the kids didn't bother me because I kind of saw myself in them. And I can only imagine like me at 15, 16, having a me in my life, how different my life would be. So that kind of sparked the cause for my why as well. Like I wanted to be what I didn't have. Even as an adult, mental health just became popular. Like this has been taboo forever. Like if you got a counselor, you crazy or no, like we just didn't see it as a necessity and we kind of just been going along to get along doing the best we can. But the representation, it comes from me wanting to be what I didn't have.
I became an amputee when I was 9 years old, and I had my first therapist when I was around nine. It was a lot of trauma. She was like, "You need to unpack this," and all I did is write stories while I was in therapy. And she was like, "Well, you need to talk about this," and I'm like, "I just want to write."
Was she
And
white or Black?
she was white,
Okay.
and that was therapeutic for me. Was just writing. I didn't really think about what happened to me, like the tragic upbringing or the tragedy when I lost my toes. It wasn't really until I got to a Black therapist that I was able to go backwards and really
Right.
unpack everything. So, what are some of the differences that you see when you're working with Black clients that they may not have when they're working with a white therapist?
So when I do my intakes with my clients at work, I can give you my whole thing like verbatim because I say it every single time I see a Black person. Number one, I tell them that I'm proud of them for doing the things that their ancestors couldn't do, living or dead. Auntie couldn't do it, grandma wouldn't do it, and for taking a chance on doing something that's not culturally representative. Um, when I get a Black person, I always tell them I already know what it's like to try to get in therapy. Your family already saying don't put them white people in your business. They will think you're crazy. Go to church, pray about it. All these other alternatives instead of addressing the problem head on. So I think when people see me and they see my name and they automatically think like, oh my God, I got a white girl. So that throws them off when they see me on the camera and then they figure out they got a roundaway girl as a therapist too. Like you could just see like the stress kind of like, okay, there's one less thing I got to worry about. Um, but I feel like just knowing that you have a Black therapist, that's one less barrier for you. You don't have to gift wrap what you're saying to make sure that somebody understands you, because whatever you got to say, there may not be a proper white terminology to kind of get out what you're trying to relay. So having somebody that is similar to you, we might not have similar backgrounds, but when I start talking, they can tell, oh, she from somewhere. She ain't coming here pushing her degrees in my face. I don't even mention my education. I hate leading with that. And I feel like when they get other races or whatever, that's automatically felt. Like this is a doctor that I'm talking to. This is a licensed clinician and they're talking like this to me. And I don't know if I can say what I need to say without them judging me. But I feel like when they see me, they know like at least I can say what I need to say. I can be seen, heard, understood, and I can bring this mountain of problem and be able to explain it in a way that's comfortable to me. And I don't have to kind of reconstruct my whole mindset to kind of make this therapist understand where I'm coming from.
It seems like you can break down that wall a little easier for them with them. They can see you, they can let out that big sigh of relief. They can
Yeah.
say, someone's going to get me. When you talk to them, they can feel a little more relaxed. They can believe in someone who will have their back, someone who will understand with them. One of the things that you mentioned was like telling the family secrets, being betrayed, betraying the family. How does that work with your clients? Sometimes they might feel that by sharing what's going on with their family's history, that they may be betraying their family.
But the one thing about counseling is everything is confidential. So it doesn't matter what they tell me. Everything I make sure I reassure them that everything stays between us. So because I do EAP therapy, that's one of the main reservations that they have. Is my supervisor going to know what I'm saying? No, baby. Like I don't report back to them. Like everything we say is confidential unless you give me a release to say something. And even then, I'm very limited in the information that I do provide. So I always tell people that I'm very proud of them for calling in. And I don't really do a lot of cold calling. Like everybody that I've ever gotten, they've reached out to me first. So when people reach out, I know they're ready to be a better version of themselves. So I'm their biggest cheerleader. I always like just praise them for even just reaching out and asking for the help, no matter what their pace is for receiving it or giving information. I don't always make them talk about the problem up front. We could shoot the shit and I build rapport first. So if some people are ready to just word vomit it all out, I'm here to catch it. But for most people, it does take a session or two to build rapport, and they're grateful for the pace that I'm allowing them to take because everybody's not ready. Black people don't tell our business unless we're comfortable. So like I allow them the space to be comfortable enough to let whatever walls down they have and be as free and be as willing to receive the help as they need to. And I also feel like most people don't receive help unless they're comfortable. So if you're with a white person and they're giving you something to do, you don't even feel comfortable enough to take the advice because you don't think she's coming from a place that you're being understood. So you're less likely to try to implement certain things, certain interventions that are given. But if you're talking to somebody that you're like, okay, my auntie did that too, and this is what I had to do, and blah, 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 they'll be more receptive of trying something because you're more relatable.
Mm. I've had only, besides when I was a child, I've had Black therapists,
Okay.
and my first one was amazing. He got me through a lot of stuff. I have a lot closer relationship with my family because of him. I felt like not necessarily the black sheep. I don't believe in black sheep. We all have differences. I believe we may not get along with our family. I don't think there's such thing as black sheep, but that's a
Sure.
personal feeling. But I've built a lot of strong relationships with my family because of that. But I also had a second Black therapist, and we just couldn't build that rapport. So, what do you say to someone who tries to build a rapport, might have a Black therapist, but it doesn't work, so they give up? How do they push through that?
So I've never had any black person not rock with me, but in my initial intakes when I meet them, I always tell them, "Look, I'm very comfortable at what I do. I love what I do. I hope it always comes across that way, but none of that matters if you're not comfortable. So I always tell them if they have any questions, comments, complaints, concerns, please speak up and advocate for themselves. And if we get a couple sessions in and you're like, Jessica's I don't know, I tell them like to call the number back. You don't have to just pick me because randomly you were given to me through the job, because the job just assigns people based on availability in the state that we're licensed in. So I just randomly get people. I don't get a choice in who is given to me. So if we get a couple sessions in and you're like, I'm too much, I'm too direct, I'm too whatever, I tell them to call the number back and get somebody until they get a right fit. And I tell them that's for me, their PCP, their OBG, the dentist. I tell them if they go to Red Lobster and the biscuits are trash, get another waiter. Like, you don't just have to just take what's given to you. And I make sure that they know that they have options. They don't just have to. And I feel like maybe that's something that a lot of Black people don't understand too. Just because you're with a provider, you're not stuck with them. Like, we are a service-based industry. If you're not getting the service that you need, get somebody else to provide the service. You're not stuck. And I don't know if Black people are just scared to speak up and advocate for themselves, but I make sure that clients know that if you have any issues, I know you're not calling in because of me. I can do nothing to you. So whatever you're calling in is so far outside of me that if I'm not able to help you, it's not going to hurt my feelings if you do whatever you need to do to get your needs met. If anything, I'm proud of you for speaking up and saying that I'm not it. That's part of advocacy, and I don't make them feel bad for advocating for themselves. I've been doing this EAP thing for almost 5 years, and I probably only had like one or two people not rock with me, and they weren't Black. So
That's awesome. You seem like someone who can relate to a multitude of Black people, so that's really great. So let's talk about those with mental health diagnosis. When those people come to you and talk to you, how is that level of care different than people who may not have a mental health diagnosis?
I don't feel like I treat anybody any different. And I think that's why I've been so, I don't, and this isn't even me being cocky. This is why I think I reach people better, because I don't treat anybody any different. If you have ADHD and you come to me and am I going to be like, are you focusing? I'm not going to draw attention to whatever the problem is. We're going to talk about whatever issues you're having. I'm going to provide perspectives. I tell people all the time, I don't give advice. If you come to me with a problem, I'll provide a perspective that hopefully gives you what you need to make an independent, autonomous decision for yourself. For whatever it is, I don't give people tasks to do. I make suggestions, because if you do what I say do, you might end up in jail. So I tell people don't do what I do, because I know in certain situations I would have handled it completely differently. So I don't give advice. I just provide sound suggestions, and I don't differentiate between people who have depression, ADHD, whatever problem you come with. I'm just going to see you at face value, and I'm going to treat you with respect, dignity, all of those things. And I'm not going to treat you like your diagnosis. I'm going to see you as the person you are. You're just coming with a problem that I'm helping you solve.
Yeah, I think treating people with respect is major. I think oftentimes working and seeing Black people, we often feel like that respect is not going to be there. So how can they
True.
advocate if they don't see the respect being there?
So, so they've not a problem with me. But like I said, I always tell them, like, first session in, if you have any comments, complaints, questions, or concerns, please speak up. Like, I don't know if they have a voice anywhere outside of my session. I don't know if when they're at home with their husband or their wives, if they're scared to speak up there, but I make sure that they feel safe and secure, at least with me, to speak up and have that confidence to at least address an issue, even if it's not with me. If you have an issue with your husband, tell me what it is, and we can practice running through scenarios, practice um just some healthy ways to communicate whatever your grievance is. But I try my best to not ever make anybody feel like a diagnosis. You're a person that's coming with a problem. So I haven't had any issues with anybody feeling disrespected.
I've had a therapist who I've tried to meet with, a couples therapist, and we've done a couple of sessions, and the person on the phone over the Zoom was white, but we tried to give him a chance, but he didn't have a camera. So it just made it super awkward. We tried and we were like, this just isn't going to work. Um, and we were just like, it's not a good fit. We tried 2 sessions and we both decided that it's just not a good fit. It's just not a match. You don't have a camera. You're not culturally competent. You don't understand. You can't relate. So let's talk about that culturally competent. Um, I'll give you some background. My master's is in counseling. My concentration was college student affairs, so I work with college students. That was my track. Um, I don't think my master's program was culturally competent. I think the professors there, unless you fit a certain description, were definitely biased.
Okay.
I'm gonna keep to myself what those descriptions were because people may disagree with me.
Okay.
But my uncle passed, and the professor said to me, "I thought your assignment would be better because you had more time to do it."
Ooh.
And this is in a counseling program. Another
Oh,
professor,
wow.
another professor said to me, "I don't care that you missed classes because you were sad." And this is in a counseling program.
Okay.
Um, how can I don't even consider those people white allies.
True.
I think they are white. Uh, I don't know what the opposite of allies is right now, but
The
they are
opposition.
people are white opposition, right? And I think those people who pretend like they want to get it, but they look through life with their blinders. They see a black man and they see someone who is disinterested, someone who didn't belong. They felt didn't belong. And now I'm Dr. Scott, so that's how I feel about that.
Type shit.
Um, but what do you say to white people who just don't get it? To those type of white people who see a black person and they see them as disengaged when that person might be sad. That person may need someone just like, "Hey, are you okay?"
I appreciate this question. So my first 2 degrees I got from an HBCU, right? And when I went to go seek my counseling degree, they weren't. I was gonna be a three-peat at my school. I think I was so proud of it, but they weren't accredited when I was seeking my degree. So I had to go to a PWI, which was a totally different experience than my great HBCU. So it wasn't until I got into so the whole time I was at school, I was an older student going back to grad school because by this time it's my second master's degree. So by this time I'm in my late 20s and I'm in class with teenagers and people that are just 20, 21 years old, and I'm in my late 20s. So the difference between going back to school as an adult and a first time grad student, major difference. I was really, really focused on my work, really focused on learning and wasn't trying to waste my time or experience. At the time, I was working for a community based counseling agency. So I was in the field working while going to school for counseling. So I bring that up for a reason. So by the time I started class, there were certain topics that would be brought up that I had a different perspective on because I'm working with people like in person, boots on the ground. Like I'm in people's homes. I'm seeing problems firsthand. And these people are focused on doing outpatient. They've never done therapy ever in their life. They have no experience, no background, no nothing whatsoever. I remember you had to take group counseling. You took a group counseling
Yeah,
class. So in our group, there's different dynamics and they teach you about how to run the group and how everybody has different experiences. They give you different assignments. One person is a group leader one day you're just a listener or a participant. And I remember, so I'm from 757 Hampton Road, and they started putting tolls up on our tunnel, right? And so me being a black girl, and I had to go through the tunnel to go to school, I was pissed off because that's another bill of mine, right? So we're in the group, and I remember a younger white guy saying, I don't know why everybody's picketing the toll. My dad just put money on the easy pass, and I just bring my ass to school. And I looked at him and I said, because you're not in touch with people who this does affect, because some of us don't have parents to put money on a toll for an easy pass. And like the tolls weren't cheap either. They were like $2.50 one way. And if you're going to work and then you're trying to come home and then going back to school, like now that switches up how you're able to travel. That switches up how you're able to manage your time and your schedule. So just me being able to address that in the group he never even was aware that people were negatively affected by it. He was just like, he just thought people were complaining about just to complain, not realizing that now this is another bill for Black families. Like, everybody doesn't have the money to afford this. The group teacher, the group leader, she let it play out, but it just really taught me that the people I was in the program with are out of touch with people that they may be helping soon. So if you don't think these tolls are a problem and you get a Black woman that's coming to you for help and she's complaining about the very thing you don't see an issue with, how will you help her? Like, how do you even resonate with her when you're already saying, I don't know why they're picking it and my dad puts money. Bitch, everybody ain't got money like that. We work hard for our shit. So, good.
I am very terrified for Black people because there are a lot of non-Black people who should not be working with Black people.
Oh, yeah.
I had in group therapy, there was a girl who said something to me. She said, I am intimidated by you. I said, and the whole group is stunned. Like, I'm 6'5", 250 pounds or full of muscle, right? For the audience, right? So kidding, I'm like 5'10", maybe 5'11". Around short people, I'm 6 feet.
You 6 feet. You
And at the
6 feet.
time I was like maybe 170, 180 pounds. And she said, I'm intimidated by you, basically because I was Black and male. But my thing is like, why are you intimidated by me? We're sitting in the
Right.
same grad program. She's
Right.
intimidated by me because I'm Black. Everything else is equal.
Right.
We're in the same grad program. We're in the same class. It's group counseling as well. Group counseling reveals a lot of things about people.
Yeah, it does now. Yes, they
So
did. And it gives you like a precursor to what you might intercept going forward in a professional life. Like you said, my mom works for social services and she's been there for almost like 20 years. And the turnover is very, very high because not even just white people, but people in general, if you are not equipped enough or emotionally intelligent enough to keep your composure when um a different dynamic or a different race, a different why I can't think of the damn word, a different style, a different socioeconomic class comes in your presence. How are you not able to keep your cool? How are you not able to provide a service for somebody? It doesn't matter what they look like, what they present with. You're there to do a job, and that's it. It shouldn't have anything to do with my physical appearance, my how much money I make, where I live, or what my experience is. If I'm here to buy some groceries, what the fuck does it matter what I look like? Sell me the groceries and get the fuck on. Like, do what you're supposed to do and stop making it about you. Cause that's what that sounds like. She made that about her. How are you
100%.
defending it?
And
Yeah.
that's what a lot of people do. A lot of non-Black people, they look at Black people and say, I'm going to make that Black person's problem. I'm going to make that Black person about me. I'm going to see they're taking up space and they shouldn't be here. I'm
Right.
uncomfortable with their presence.
Right.
And I'm going to verbalize it to see if people agree with me. I've I will give that teacher credit. That's the only teacher in that program and a couple other teachers who weren't like the rest. Three teachers in our whole program. That teacher ended up apologizing. She said, I'm sorry you experienced that. I
Oh,
have
wow.
no idea where that came from. That's the only time in 2 years a teacher was like, wow, I'm sorry you experienced something like that. And it was crazy.
At least she saw where you could have been made uncomfortable. At least it wasn't just the Black person to get over it. No, baby, we got more feelings than anybody. And what I think it is, and I won't even get into the race thing, but I know this is about Black counseling. But I really feel like, and I've seen this before, and totally agree with this concept. I really think they're afraid that we're gonna say fuck it to all the conveniences we had one day and just treat their ass like they've been treating us. They're afraid of the day that we don't give a fuck about certain things and really seek the revenge that their ass has been building.
That's what they are terrified of. That's why they
Absolutely.
were up in arms when Barack Obama was elected. They thought we were going to treat them like they treated us. When all we want is to be equal. We don't want to
I
be
really don't want to.
superior.
Do we really want to be equal to them? We're already not. That's the problem. And they know we're not. That's the problem. They realize we're already superior. We just don't know it. They don't want us to know it. That's my take on it. My clients can be mad if they want, if y'all idiots forgot that, but we are idiots. We are idiots. Sorry.
I agree. So, when working with clients who have been disenfranchised by the system, by white people in particular, how do you help them move past that? Because as a Black person, we have to deal with white people every day. Like, how do you help them cope with that?
It depends on the scenario that they give. Like, I have people who call in and they're harassed by white coworkers and they work remote. And I'm just like, they're bothering you. Why? Like, just like you said, they just find ways to implement discomfort so they could feel better. I don't know if they get, um, I don't want to say adrenochrome, or if they get a rise out of making Black people uncomfortable. But for people to call in and say, I work remote and they are bullying me, they're harassing me. And it's hard for them to manage their own mental health because they still have a job to do. They still are they're expected to perform better or at the same rate or better than their counterpart and do it while feeling all the feelings that they're feeling: depressed, disenfranchised, underpaid, mistreated, uh, overlooked, not promoted. Like, they're dealing with all of these things and they're still expected to perform at the same rate or better, for less. And just, I feel like them just being able to talk to me is a help because they've been surrounded by people. Even if they talk to people at work, if they talk to another Black person at work, they're not sure if that Black person isn't selling out, if that Black person wouldn't be willing to tell whatever just to come up, the crab in a barrel type of thing. So they don't even feel comfortable talking or talking about their grievances to their coworkers. So I just feel like just being a safe space for them allows the building up of their confidence. I pour into my Black people every time I see them. What's up, Goddess? What up, Dad? I see clients up in Connecticut and they're in doctoral programs. And I'm always proud of my Black doctors when I see them. I always tell them they Black boy magic, Black girl. Like, I do what I can to provide whatever type of confidence, however I can pour into their self-esteem, into their ego. I do all of that. I boost them all up. And I know they're not getting that in their environment that they're in because they're in, like you said, white dominant spaces. But I feel like just allowing them the safe space to air their grievances is always the help, which is why I love that I'm able to be in this space to be that for them. They see a Black face and they're like, "Ooh, oh my God, thank God." And they know that that level of confidentiality is there too, so they can safely say whatever they're going to say and know it's not going to get back and have repercussions.
So, what is one way that if someone, they only have limited to a few sessions, what are some way you can pass that baton? How do you pass them off or help them find a more permanent therapist?
So I will be completely transparent with you. So because I'm credentialed in every state that I'm in too. So I'm licensed in the state to do my job through my job, but I'm also credentialed through damn near every insurance carrier. So a lot of people ask to see me after our sessions are done. And because I know enough about them, I know whether I want to take them on or not. But for the most part, some of them want to continue on and they don't want to retell their story. So I end up with a long-term client. Um, so that's how a lot of them kind of have passed the torch, but some of them, they get through their issues in the allotted amount of sessions. Um, but if they don't have um, any type of providers in their area, I always tell them to resort back to calling the number on member services on the back of their insurance card so they can find providers, or they can call EAP back and get more sessions, and we continue that way so they're not just left in the dust after the first initial set of sessions.
So, what other resources are there?
So Psychology Today to me is a good one because you get to filter out who you really want. You get to filter out by religion, race, age, whether they're Christian or spiritual, whether they're young or old. Like you get to see pictures of people to see if they relate. Um, Other social services, reaching out to local community-based services. Like I said, calling a number on the back of their insurance card to see what providers are actually in network for them. Um, if they don't have insurance, then using EAP providers, the free services provided through their job. Also, what I want to say, while I do have an audience and a platform to say it, a lot of people don't realize the benefits that they have when they have health insurance. Most people just think, oh, I got health insurance. No, look through your benefits package and see everything that comes with you having benefits. So, for example, if you're having issues and you need transportation, sometimes your insurance company will cover like Medicaid transportation to and from appointments, because sometimes if you don't have a car, that's a stressor for you. So knowing that you have transportation to and from appointment, discounts for gym membership, like there's all type of things that are associated with having health insurance that people just think, oh, I just get to go to the doctor. No, you get more than that with benefit that I wish people would be educated on, but I don't think people are. Either they don't go to the HR meeting, so they don't have that resource available to them because it's not provided. But I definitely tell people to look through their benefits if they have them, to see what other resources are provided through the bill they get to take another check every month. See what all you're paying for. So,
And they
it look like
take a
you would say something.
whole lot of money for insurance out
Right.
of my check. I I met my out of pocket deductible in 2 weeks this year
God damn.
between
Lot
my
of money.
psychiatrist and I went to go see my doctor about my lack of sleep.
So now everything is taken care of though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Now my appointments are a lot less, but I am a believer in getting stuff taken care of. I got my physical coming up in a few weeks. I'm telling her, like, I need this done, that done. I
Right.
want to make sure there is nothing wrong with me. I am a big proponent of going to the doctor. Like,
Come on with that
I want to
man.
be as healthy as I can be. I'm trying to live till I'm at least 120.
Come
So
on with that man. You better.
So you mentioned being in class with people that are younger than you. So what would you say to a young black girl, a young black boy who wants to be a therapist? Like, how do you pass that baton to them?
It's funny because I haven't really, well, I have met a few. Um, and what I would tell them is look around and see why you're the different. You're there because you're supposed to be. If you look like the raisin in the milk, right, go recruit some more raisins because we need some more in the milk. Um, I always let them know how important it is and how special they are in the service that they're going to provide for their people. We are definitely needed to help our own. Like you get help so much better when you're comfortable, when you feel like you can resonate with the person that you're seeking help from. If you're going to get help from somebody that can't identify with anything about you, are you receptive to listening to whatever they're going to say? You go to an old white man doctor and you're trying to talk about anxiety you're having about living in the hood, and here, take this Xanax, and I don't think I want that. You don't need that level of care. You need somebody to talk to and to guide you and to reassure you that you're okay, and the experience that you're feeling isn't just an isolated one. A lot of times I feel like with the help we get with people that are not in our demographic, it feels isolating. Like you go to a doctor's office and you're the only black person in the waiting room, and you feel out of place. But when you come to a therapy session and you get to see somebody that looks like you, look at the help that you're providing for, and the confidence you're giving your patient in the help that you're providing, because they can identify with you. You resonate. They see you. They're not scared of you. If anything, they're welcoming. They can't wait to come back. My clients always look forward to sessions because it doesn't feel like a doctor's appointment. They're not bored. They can actually talk about whatever song just came out and blah blah. They can make cultural references. They can do all these things and feel comfortable about themselves while they're getting the help they need. And so for the young ones coming up, be yourself. Like I enjoy everything I do because I get to genuinely, authentically be Jessica the entire time. So I tell them to find roles that allow them to be themselves. so that they don't have to fake and put on and come off disingenuous and negate the help that they're trying to give. So
basically, be their authentic selves, and everything will flow from there.
you gotta find a lane that allows you to do that. If you're working for a company where you have to present in a certain way, you kind of gotta do the grunt work until you can get to a place like where me. So for me to be licensed and be in this position that I'm in, I'm super grateful because I can look back on all the job roles that I've had before now. I've always pretty much been myself, but I've had to kind of curb my enthusiasm. Like I couldn't be 1,000% Jessica at the workplace because every workplace doesn't receive 1,000. Like you gotta show certain levels of professionalism. And when I get to be myself in my sessions, my clients know what they get when they come to me. In my consultations, my sessions feel just like this. It doesn't feel any different. I might show up my goals in my mouth. My clients at work be like, "Oh my God, are those goals in your mouth?" Why, yes, they are. Like I do things so that they can see that I'm comfortable being me, so that they can be as comfortable being themselves while they're in sessions too. So you got to find a role. You got to find a lane where you can grow into that because every role doesn't allow you to do that. Every every client isn't going to be comfortable with you just coming out saying whatever you're going to say. Sometimes you do have to be professional until that lane opens up for you to be authentically yourself and it be okay.
Awesome. As we wrap up, I have a couple more questions for you.
Sure.
The first is, where did you get your golds from?
I got my golds from PJ's outside of Military Circle Mall in Norfolk. Rest in peace, Military Circle Mall. Rest in peace. But it's in Poplar Hall Plaza, and it was back in the day, and it was an anniversary present. I didn't want any jewelry. I wanted some gold. That's how ratchet.
So now I'm going to turn it over to you. You can ask me questions about mental health or anything. That it doesn't matter.
Ooh, okay. So, what inspired your thesis for your doctoral paper for your dissertation?
So my thesis is stereotypes of a Black man misunderstood.
And
Shout out
it's
to
still
Biggie.
all good.
And it's the experiences and development of Black men with bipolar disorder on college campuses. So once I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, I went looking for research, for questions, for answers, and none of that existed for Black men. None of that existed for most people, but specifically none of that was for Black men. I looked for collegiate Black men. There was absolutely zero. And I said to me, this is a population that's been unexplored. There's no research on this. There's this big gap in literature, you know, and there's such a deficit lens when it comes to Black people, but no one's looking at them holistically. No one's really taking the time to study them on an intersectional lens for real. They see Black men, they see poor, they see uneducated, they see rough, tough, savages, they don't belong, all these things. And they create these programs for Black men on campus about, and they lump them all in one program. They say, we're going to have a Black male initiative. We're going to put every single Black man on there. But they don't know if that's going to help them thrive because they don't know what other intersectional identities need to be developed. It may not just be their Blackness. It may be their queerness. It may be their financial situation. It may be the disability. So we need to account for that. And one of the things I wanted to do was help account for that disability. If we can make sense of that disability piece, that's one piece of the puzzle, right? And there's other literature with other pieces of the puzzle, so we can create one big collage and one big done complete puzzle.
I was very proud of you because I attended your graduation. I lost my voice that day. Very proud of you. What opportunities has having a doctorate opened up for you now?
Honestly, I hate to say this, but it allowed people to take me seriously. I feel like I've been saying the same thing when it comes to Black men in college, and advising before I got my doctorate. Now, but people take me seriously because I'm Dr. Scott, and I hate it, but it 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 puts the weight behind what I say. They're like, "Oh, he has a PhD. He knows what he's talking about." But I've always known what I've been talking about because I've always done my research. I've been known how to research. It's easy. Once you know what you're doing, it's easy, right? You go on the website, you type what you're in, you get your sources, you do your literature review. It's not difficult. I a lot of people don't like doing research nowadays, but that's a whole nother topic.
Right. Right, right, right. Um, I just had a session earlier today, and I was telling him that I needed to get off so I could prep for our our session here. Um, and he was saying, you know what, people are gonna take you serious because you're well rounded and you have an LPC. And he was like, but I had to tell him I've been a therapist all my life. I just figured out a way to get paid for it. You've been this man all your life. You just figured out a way to get paid for it. Like none of this stuff is newly
Exactly.
developed. Like if it's in you, it's in you. And I feel like just to kind of bounce back to our discord on like the white students versus us, we're there because we know there's a problem to solve. I have no clue why those people are there. Like I wish when we first entered the program, we could have did a paper on what our why was. Why are you here?
Mm.
Who you here to help? What's your intention for seeking this license, seeking this degree? Who do you intend to help and why do you intend to do it? I feel like a lot of people entered into the counseling program because you can make a lot of money from it. Like once you get licensed, there's buku money in it. Some people have no idea what they're doing in it, but they're licensed. They can pass a test, they can memorize information, but as far as the people and the socialization skills, they have none. And they do not need to be here. They probably need to be like approving services or doing like paperwork. But as far as the person to person interaction, a lot of people should not be in the fields that they're in. Maybe more administrative if necessary, but even in administrative roles, they're making rules for people that they still don't identify or resonate with. So I just feel like a lot of times people people get in jobs for the financial benefit, but they don't see how much of a detriment they can be to a person's psyche if they don't handle them in the right way. So we get all this training on how to communicate, but they don't teach you. We have to take the cultural sensitivity and all of that, the diversity training. We have to take all the ethics and all of that. That still don't mean you give a fuck. That still don't mean you care. You can pass the class all day and get all the answers right, but we see how you treat people. We see who you voted for. We see what you do to the waitress in the restaurant. We see how you look at black people. So I just feel like me and you, other black folk, we're in this for the right reasons. And I feel like that's what's going to be the main deciding factor between the people we seeing getting help and if they go see other people. We're built
Mm.
for this. We're born for this. I never get burnt out in my job because I feel like this is my purpose. I don't even call it a job. Like this is my purpose.
Yeah, I feel the same way. You know, I see a lot of students. I work at a predominantly white campus now, and
Okay.
when I say predominantly, I mean very white.
Yeah.
But I love what I do. I love my students. They're there because they want to better themselves. I haven't felt any racial animosity.
Good.
I love that fact. My team is mostly black, and they got my back. And my boss, he's amazing. Um, and it's really good. It's a great place to learn, great place to grow. What other questions do you have?
Are you looking to practice at all instead of teach?
No, because I never through my program. Is though it's a professional counseling program. I did the college student affairs track, so
Okay.
we don't go through the licensure track.
Okay.
So how can listeners reach you if they like?
So you can find me on Instagram, Snap, Facebook, all of TikTok at BLSDJESS on all platforms. I have other podcasts I do too, but if you're looking for any services, if you hit me up on any of those platforms, I can give you. You can find me on Psychology Today at Jessica Hunt. If you look me up, I might come up under Charlotte, North Carolina therapist, but I'm licensed in 8 states. So like you are in the state of Connecticut, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Texas, Arizona, Washington. Was that 8? Might have been 8. Am I missing one? Like, hold on. Washington, Texas, Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia. Yep. If you're in one of those 8 states, I am available to take clients. Don't come crazy. Just a little. I can't take the real heavy grades. But I am open. But like I said, check your EAP. Get the help you guys need. We are here. If you want to be seen, heard, understood, find somebody that looks like you. You can request them. Don't let these people just give you anybody. You have a preference that will be honored. If you call into member services on the back of your insurance, if you go to any type of social services, if you want a Black worker, request that. You are entitled to that. Closed mouths don't get fed, so eat. Go eat.
Go eat. I love that.
Go eat.
Go eat. Thank you once again, Jessica. This has been Black and Diagnosed, and we will be back.
Thank you, Jerome.
That's our time in it guarding today. If this conversation resonated with you, or if it helped you feel a little less alone in the fog, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. This has been Black and Diagnosed with Jerron Scott. If you'd like to contact me or share your story, you can reach me on Instagram at g.scott, GDOTSCOTT, or info@jerronscott.com. Make sure you subscribe to get the newest episodes when they drop. Be well, and I'll see you back in the garden soon.